Okay, so let's open up the September meeting of the Templeton Community Preservation Committee. The first item on the agenda is to review the minutes. Dennis has provided for us a copy of the minutes from the August 11th meeting. I have present at that meeting was myself, Joanne, Candace, Justice, Carrie, and George via Zoom, and Dennis, the scribe. I've had a chance to review it, but everybody needs to be comfortable with the minutes or make any suggestions or discussions. Else I will entertain a motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Motion made by Carrie to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Excellent spelling this month, Dennis. And since we don't have anybody, I think we can just do a total vote. Good job. Thank you. But I guess that's a backhanded compliment. I apologize. It's inappropriate. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous, approved. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item is the CPC Finances. I presented to the members of the committee here an updated. These are the balances of the reserve accounts. Last month, we presented how much money was in each project that had been appropriated. You guys want to share one?
I guess we can.
If you'd like. Basically, these are the funds that are available starting on July 1st of this year for projects going forward. So you'll see that the fund balance reserved for open space has $140,260.37. I'm not gonna say the cents anymore. Fund balance reserved for historic resources, $147,580. Fund balance reserved for community housing, $87,351. And the undesignated fund balance, which could be used for any of those categories, in addition to recreation, $848,839. So we have a total balance of $1,224,032 available for projects. We also get a new budget for the administrative funds. Every year, the town appropriates 5% of the receipts that is available for the administrative budget, where this committee has the authority to expend money to support project efforts. And that's $22,500. Okay, and so the next item you'll see is from thanks to our assessors, is the net Templeton CPA commitments from the past fiscal year 22, the buildings that went out and less the abatements and things like that. And that was a total of $629.97. That's the amount of money that the town is expecting to receive, if everybody paid all their taxes and everybody was up to snuff in the past fiscal year. That's the number that the state uses to determine calculate the rate, calculate the match we would receive from the state on November 15th. And so last year we got 100% match because we are at a 3% surcharge level and we were eligible for additional funding. The match generally last year was, I believe, 28% that everybody got. We got 100%. So if we got 100% again, that's saying that we would get $227,000 from the state, and would go into our. And so basically, we would get approximately $450,000 a year coming into the town. So you can see that we do have ample resources to support projects going forward. And one of the things. So any questions on anything?
But this has to last us through till next July, though, right?
No, this will last until it's gone. What do you mean?
Well, we get another allotment.
Yes. More every year we will get more. So this unlike the town's budget that needs to be balanced and spent every year, the CPA is separate funding and it just builds up. The only fund that reverts to zero at the end of the fiscal year is the administrative budget. So if you don't spend all your administrative budget, it gets allocated back into these other funds for future project use. So, yeah. And so basically, yeah, we just have to you know, once a project is voted, the treasurer will take monies out of these accounts and transfer it to a new account number. You see, there's an account number specific to that project, you know, for example, the Historical Society, last month, we voted for a $75,000 article. If the town votes that, they'll create a new sub-account number for that, and that'll have $75,000 in it until it gets spent out. And of course, the way accountants do it, they put it in a negative and then it goes to zero, which, you know, I'm not an accountant, but that's how they do it. So, and so this does not even show the other projects we have, which includes the $1.2 million for the Walden Elementary School project. That's everything that's been voted is not included in this. Those have their own accounts. So these are available funds. Okay, so any questions or any other comments on that? I want to thank the town accountant for getting that, town treasurer for getting that to us, because it's a little different from the normal accounting, because they are, you know, but and we need to have it on a semi-annual basis so that, you know, we know what we have in the coming year. And that's one of the things that we expect our administrative assistant to help us with, to streamline that process so that they can work together, so that we can get all of our reporting in a timely fashion in an organized manner. So we have posted the position that was approved, and to date, I believe we've only had one application. And so, and I haven't looked at it or whatever, so I don't even know who it is, but obviously we want more than one. There will be a hiring committee, and that will likely include the town administrator, and then the person who is responsible for that department, who's Lori Waite, which is the developmental programs, and of course, and then the chairperson of this committee. And then the question is, do we want to send another representative from this board to that, to be on that interview committee? We can certainly do it just with 3. I'm already on the hook as the chair, or you could take me off if you wanted. Basically, you know, in any hiring process, we follow the town's personnel policy, you go through the interviews. You know, I've done a lot of this for the state at the community college, so I've been through a lot of hirings and things like that. So, you know, I feel comfortable to do it. Is there anybody else that feels strongly that would like to participate in the interviews? Okay, so we'll just go with, I'll let them know that it'll just be me, and that's with everybody.
I think you do a good job.
Okay,
We trust you, John.
well, and likely
do
what
the
will
job
happen
better than us.
if we have one person, then we have to be, you know, so we want to try to push that. And I emailed everybody the link, and it's on the webpage. If you know anybody that's looking for a part-time job, it's 10 hours a week. And it'd be nice if they have some understanding of town operations, but we're certainly willing to train. The duties are listed, but they include things like helping facilitate discussions in the town employment, you know, departments, whether it's the different committees that we all serve on separately, or the finance team, or the town administrator. It's also who's also responsible for any procurement, and then it's also working with the proponents of a project. So not only, many of our projects are town projects, so there's a department that is responsible. Oftentimes the Board of Selectmen has the authority to expand. It could be the cemetery, it could be another part, but also outside organizations such as the Historical Society. So this person would then interact and be a liaison and resource so that you can get questions and things answered in a timely fashion. So looking forward to that. Other things that we're hoping to have will include streamlining our application process, so we have an actual, you know, 2022 version, not in 2007, fill in the blank, you know, and those types of things, as well as our processes, procedures. And I think we can certainly keep that person busy for 10 hours a week. So hopefully we'll have multiple candidates. And if we get to a point where we're down to a process of second interview, we might bring those persons to the entire committee, if that's the wish of the committee, or, you know, or not, but we'll certainly keep you informed of the process. All right. Okay. So moving forward, the fall town meeting, the warrant, I believe, is closing on the 22nd, but selectmen need the articles split. So this is our opportunity to vote any other additional things beyond what we did last month. So we have 3 things which I've shared with everybody. about, 3 articles to discuss, and we're just gonna go through them the way I have them listed on the agenda. The first is the Gilman Waite project. So Candy from Parks and Recreation has reinvigorated that process with her committee. And so that included revisiting what Bob Sozik, our DPW director, had in terms of quotes to complete the bathrooms at Gilman Waite. There's been a lot of, it's been a long time coming. And they have a quotation that was $34,750. And so the suggestion was, given the fact that, you know, they're gonna have to go through the bidding process and go through this and inflation and things like that. The recommendation from Bob was to seek $40,000 to give, you know, some contingency. And so that's where this article, the second one down listed that I had drafted here for discussion, was to see if the town will appropriate $40,000 from the Templeton CPA fund balance reserved for open space for the Templeton Board of Selectmen to expend towards the completion of restrooms and related eligible improvements at Gilman Waite Field. So typically when we have a project, we need to identify, you know, how much money it is, which fund is it coming out of, and who's available to expend it, and what is the work to be done. You know, we don't need the full long details that we have to develop it this far. We could envision, you know, we've always sought to include a contingency of anywhere from 10 to 20% because of cost overruns. And it's always better to have availability to spend more than you need than to have to go back to town meeting and delay a project. Any monies that do not get spent just stay in the account and are available for the future once we close out that account. So let's say we voted 40,000 and the project was approved by the town and the work was done and it was $38,000. And then we would get confirmation that the project was done. We then vote to close the project, and then the $2,000 balance gets unencumbered from this project and goes back to the open space fund. And that's referenced as the open space because the open space fund is the primary resource where recreation comes out of. And so that's why
So
there is.
if you put a little bit extra in case it runs over, so you don't have to go back to the vote. It just goes back in the coffers anyway to another project. So it's not like we can do it for anything. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, and we have had, well, at least one time, we had a cost overrun, or we had to stop. I mean, so
Yeah.
anyway, what do you guys think about this?
I think, I mean, we've always done that with the additional funding, rather than having to wait till the next town meeting to have appropriations for that.
Okay, and I sent everybody copies of the quotes and things like that, and you know, Bob is very good at getting the details together.
Yeah, the bulk of the money of the 40,000 is actually on the plumbing. The other elements, we have the toilets, we have the sinks. They have the septic system, they have all the elements. But it's basically, a lot of it is the finish work. And then the bigger part of the bill is the plumbing on Bob's estimates that he had given us. So, it's right there. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to people in the park during the soccer signups and stuff and asking them what they thought, you know, and they said, yeah, they want the bathrooms. And I said, well, if we go, it has to go to a vote, and you know, you'll have to come to vote for it, you know, and they were interested in it. So I feel like that the community would like to see it on our warrant for the fall. And I think a lot of people put a lot of effort into volunteering and donating a lot of money in, you know, materials and so forth to do to this part. I think we owe it to them to finish this to the end.
Great, so and so then if you want to make a motion to go forward, we can do that. If we want
I
to
got one
adjust
question.
the money,
Did
yeah.
Bob get just one quote for the plumbing cost, or did he get multiple?
He got
quotes?
multiple quotes.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then of course, there's the quotes are always estimates, and then the actual procurement has to take place after the money has been allocated. So that's my only concern would be is like, you know, a $5,000 contingency ample enough, or do we need to give a, you know, a $10,000, you know, cushion?
Yeah, with with everything and the prices of everything. I mean, something to think about. I just don't want to like have to, you know, have them stop what they're doing. for the next town meeting to get.
Yeah,
some,
Well, if this comes out, it would be at the fall town meeting.
Right.
And so I don't know how much work they would be doing up there during the course of the winter.
right,
well, anymore,
Is
you
it
can,
heated inside or they, I suppose, space heaters.
yes, they can use, yeah. they can
Yeah.
use-
you know how it is. If they're available, they can do stuff a lot more.
No, I was just thinking if they did run over and they ran out of money, the next meeting would be the
The spring,
annual
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Yeah, and by then, I mean, certainly before May, you know,
Yeah.
they should be able to wrap it up.
I
So,
think,
would you be, do you think 40 is adequate?
well, that's $5,000 over the,
the estimate, yeah, okay.
Okay, so, any other discussion? Would somebody like to
I
make
make a motion, we accept the draft article as written to be submitted on the warrant.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mike and seconded by Carrie. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
since the town administrator may go out to bid for this project, I will be abstaining from this vote in case I have to work on it.
Okay. That's certainly good. And then at any times, as we all know from all of our ethics studies, that the perception of you know, impropriety is just as bad as actually doing it, just because stay away from trouble. Okay, so motion's been made in second. Any other discussion? So we will do a roll call vote. All those in favor, Candace,
Yes,
Carrie,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I vote yes. Dennis,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Justice?
Abstain.
What? Okay, so it's
Exactly.
unanimous, with one abstention. Thank you very
nice,
much.
thank you.
Okay, so we will get that to the town administrator for next week. The next article listed is the additional request from the Narragansett Historical Society. This was just brought to our attention. They have been looking at fundings. There is some other arts fund that they were maybe thinking could work, but it was recommended by the town administrator to come to the CPA because this is an appropriate project. And essentially what they have is a historic drapery that has been damaged over the years, and they would like to restore it. They have a price estimate of just over $10,000. They're seeking $9,000 because they have some in-kind donations and other labors and support. So they have presented to us a request for $9,000 to do this, and we do have two representatives from the Historical Society here, President Brian Tanguay and Vice President Tom Hurd. So if everybody's good with that, it would be great Brian, do you mind giving us a summary of this?
Sure, the curtains were taken down 7 years ago, wrapped up in Tyvek, so that they could be protected during the construction and the revitalization of the building. So they're in a climate controlled room right now, and so they're safe. We had planned on rolling them back out. We set up a table on top of all the pews. The measurements are 22 feet wide by 14 feet tall. So there's tears, there's rips, there's missing sections. It's canvas, so it can be repaired. These people are experts. Woman, Chris Hadsdell up in Vermont has restored so many. She wrote a book. And I bought the book, so we have it if you ever want to see it. It's at the museum, or will be. And she shows all the different curtains. The nice thing about the book and her advertising of what she does is it brings people out. So I've been to 5 or 6 of those curtains that she restored in Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, to see the work that she did, and it was amazing. It was like they were brand new. So the work needs to be done. It's again been sitting for 7 years. And with the support of the CPC and the other grants that we're working on, because we're on a very aggressive path to bring in 285,000 to finish this project. And so far, I've got 140 of that in promissory grants and so forth. And not counting the 75 that the CPC is going to approve or submit to the selectmen. So with that fast track that we're on, we are with hopes of getting the Grange done in 2 years. So by the end of next year, but the second floor should be done this winter. Once the second floor is done, we can create that table, open up the drapes, and have Chris and her associate come down. restore them all. We've got 7 volunteers that will show up with her. And then we're gonna rehang them with new pulleys and they roll up. And then we can secure them again once they're done so that it protects them during the rest of the restoration process. Back 7 years ago, she quoted us about 6,500, not counting the incidentals. And I think it only went up by another 1,000. So that and the new estimate of everything else that needs to be done, it came up to about 9. One of the things that we had in there was housing or a Airbnb that they would be able to stay, or if somebody in town had 2 rooms that they could let them stay. So I put it on Facebook and immediately Don O'Neill from the Winchendon Historical Society offered his Airbnb that's in Old Center. And they usually rent it out for $345 a night. He said, you can have it free. Just give me the dates and it's yours. So close to 1,000 of that estimated price of the curtain restoration could be utilized or dropped. And then we'll have that courtesy of the Winchendon Historical Society. So out of the 9,000, it might be only 8 that we're going to use. And then, like you said, just goes back into the fund and stays with you, you know.
Great, thank you. And just so everybody knows, so these drapes were made in 1935. We have a bunch of information that Brian shared with us. They were actually made in Gardner and they serve as the backdrop to the stage, or did in Will.
One's in the front and one's in the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so restoring historic things and having them available is part of the mission of the Community Preservation Act. And so bringing this forward, it's I think another great step towards the rehabilitation of that Grange Hall building. And so what do you guys think?
Well, representing the Historical Commission, I'm all in favor of it. It adds to what's being done to the Grange Hall, so I'm sure the Historical Commission would support that. And being a bit of a theater geek, these drapes are unbelievable. And that fact that we could restore them back to their former glory is really a real good thing, very important. And they're hard to come by, number one. A lot of the ones that are out there in the world are damaged beyond repair or just tossed. And to find something from 1935 in that type of condition that could be restored is very important. So,
Great. Anybody else have any comments or questions?
You're not gonna be able to put these up right away, right?
That's what we'll determine once she comes in and sees the condition of the room, which we're assuming is going to be sheetrocked and painted. So we're hoping that the whole second floor is going to be done. We can close it off to the construction going on downstairs, which will continue next year. If it has to be, we can wrap them and up in their position. If not, we can take them down, wrap them up and put them in the archive room where they are now, and they'll be safe.
We're not gonna have access to the second floor for the public for quite a while.
A year.
A year, you think?
Yeah, because we're gonna do this project in the spring with them, and then by then, we're going after the other grants. Like I said, we've got I've got a plan to get the full 285,000 by next year with all the other grants. The Mass Cultural Council just offered a $75,000 grant for this kind of project, and they're dying to give that money away. So they begged me to apply, so I did. And the Community Foundation has a couple of grants coming up that I applied for. There's another anonymous fund that gave us 30,000 this year. They're promising another 50,000 for next year because they want this done. And so do we. So it's time we're putting it on as much as we can to get everything we need. And this is only like the icing on the cake. We didn't think we could do it right away, but with the second floor being done this winter, we should take advantage of it because the price is only going to go up.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe you would want to put them away And the other thing, maybe, at town meeting, if you could be there to explain,
Sure,
that would be helpful.
definitely, yeah. Yeah, and it'll be up to Chris to make that determination if we can, because they do roll up with the painting on the inside. So once you get them all rolled up, if we just put a cover on them or Tyvek or whatever, I think that's all we're gonna need, but I'll leave that up to her because she is the expert. You know, and boy, does she do good work. You know, and this is gonna bring people to town too. On top of what we already have in the Grange, to have a grand drape like that and an advertising curtain. Like I said, I've traveled to several museums of Grange halls that have them restored and I was just so intrigued by the quality.
Is this restoration project just for the scenic drapery or is it for both?
Both. There's two estimates in there or two outlined projects, but there's only one estimate and that's for both.
Okay.
So yes, it's gonna take care of both of them and that includes everything, the hangers, the rollers, the pulleys. And then, of course, they've got the volunteer help that's gonna get it done without the extra, you know, they don't need to hire any extra help. We work for free.
Nice. Very good. Any other questions or comments? Does anybody wish to make a motion
I
to?
do, I wish to make a motion to do the $9,000?
Yeah. So the article as drafted was to see if the town will appropriate $9,000 from the Templeton CPA Fund Balance Reserve for Historic Resources for the nonprofit Narragansett Historical Society to have the historic Grand Drape restored. Public benefit to include no cost to residents of Templeton to view restored drapery at the Narragansett Historical Society buildings when available. And that's something that whenever we have a CPA project that's not to the town itself, we have to demonstrate the public benefit so that, you know, and that's why that language is in there. And the lawyers will probably tweak something around it. I think I missed it.
So I have a comment then.
Yeah.
In that statement, it didn't say something about the second advertising curtain
Yeah, so historic Grand Drape
and
and,
advertising curtain.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was questioning.
okay. So then Candace, are you making a motion to accept this with
Yes.
the inclusion of the Grand Drape and advertising curtain?
Correct.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Candace?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
I say yes. Dennis?
Yes,
Joanne?
Yes.
Justice?
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we will also send that forward to the Board of Selectmen.
One last comment. Do you
Yeah.
have a poster or paper or card that says this project funded by the CPA? Do you have any of those made up? Because I saw one somewhere and I thought we should have one at the Grange.
Yes, we need to revisit that. That needs to be an inclusion of the Grange building.
We're gonna have a permanent plaque that
Okay,
it was completed with the funds used in CPA,
yeah,
but we don't have like a temporary card that shows that this project is currently being funded by.
yeah, that's a good, yeah, we've had one posted over at Scout Hall. We used to have everyone down over at
Yeah,
the
just like a
common field
cardboard.
ground that Alan put together, but we should have something like that. That's a good
Yeah.
point. We
Yeah.
can look into that and discuss.
Yeah,
What,
make up a few of them and then we can put one at the Grange and you can put them at your other projects, but at least the town people will know that you guys are supporting these projects as well as the others.
that's a great idea, Brian. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's go through the agenda and we can talk about any other new business if we want to go forward on trying to spend any money to do anything else like that. The other item that we needed to discuss was the CPC bylaw amendment. And you'll see that this has been actually drafted by our town administrator, and all it really does is change what used to say Templeton Recreation Commission to Templeton Parks and Recreation Commission, which is the boldface part of it. And it also indicates that in the article, language says to see if the town will vote, subject to the acceptance of the special act by the general court to amend chapter 9 of the general bylaws as follows. And basically, the town has petitioned, has approved internally within the town to change the rec committee to the Parks and Recreation Commission. And that falls in line with, best practices, and that has gone to the state for approval. Still haven't heard back. It's only been a year. And that's why we have to put this language.
It's got 2 more stages.
It's getting closer.
Yeah, getting closer. Went through like a bunch of them, like 4 of them. Now we got down to 2.
So we had to, so that's why the language says, subject to acceptance of the special act. In other words, we're just waiting for you. But we'll be ready to do that. So this is really a bookkeeping item. But we need to approve this, or the selectmen could just do it on their own, but they asked us to approve it and then they would submit it.
I make a motion that we accept the draft article as written.
Okay, there's a motion made by Mike to accept this draft article,
I'll second it.
seconded by Dennis. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote, starting with Candace.
Yeah.
Carrie?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes,
Yes. Dennis?
Yeah.
Joanne? Justice?
Yes.
Yes, unanimous.
Will you be available to explain this? Because I don't.
Yes, yeah, I will be at the town meeting. Thank you, guys.
Can we
Yes.
be excused?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
okay,
And the website says your next meeting is December 2013, so make sure you're all there.
Oh, okay, going back in time.
Hmm.
Interesting. And next meeting should be actually in October. Okay, the next thing I wanted to discuss was the annual needs analysis meeting schedule. We need to annually have this meeting. Last year we had it in December, or maybe it was even 2022, I don't remember, but
Kind of squeezed in.
yeah.
Before this.
So I think we should, what we did then is we had it as part of our regular monthly meeting.
mhm,
And so I would propose that we do that either in the October or November meeting.
Didn't we have it like a half hour
Yeah.
before the meeting
Yeah.
started?
So I think we did the regular meeting and then into that.
Yeah,
So our regular meeting would be at 6, and then our or we could do it the other way around, or our special needs analysis meeting would be at 6:30 or vice versa. You have thoughts on that?
I think the only, it seemed like we were done kind of early, but we had to wait.
Okay, so we
when
do the
had-
needs analysis first.
I think that makes more sense logistically.
Okay. So we can't do that for October because we have to get the advertisement together. It needs to be posted in the local ad for 2 weeks. Prior to. There has been discussion about getting this whole process of public postings approved for electronic versions, but do you know anything about that, Justice?
I know for some things, like with the assessors for the DOR, I know that we can do our tax classification hearing, just with the website posting, but that was a DOR regulation change. I don't know. It depends on which. Because this needs analysis hearing is governed by the CPA Act, right? So yeah, I don't know if there's any regulation around that would change that.
Okay. Now, we had originally used the state's draft language in our articles to say that we would post it in that format. We will certainly do that again. And I had envisioned maybe revisiting the entire bylaw to change that, but then I was confused whether it's even allowed. So that's why I said, let's just do the name change. We'll still put it in the Gardner News, which is fine. Holly can help us do that. And so then, I would rather we didn't do it in October because it'll be October before we know it. So either November or December. And looking at my calendar.
November 10th would be the second Thursday,
Okay,
day before Veterans Day.
Veterans Day Eve.
Yeah.
Okay, does that sound like something that is appropriate or reasonable, November?
Wait, which date is
10th.
it's 10th? I know town hall is closed on. Is that the day before Veterans Day?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yes, town
You're
hall's
right.
closed that day. Yeah.
Because you're getting the holiday, the Veterans Day holiday.
Yeah,
Okay, well, we could discuss changing our meeting, although that might conflict with availability of the building. So what we could do tonight is vote to have the needs analysis meeting as part of our November meeting, and then we could figure out when that's gonna be.
Okay.
Or we could do December.
December would be the 8th.
December.
And when is the special town meeting? Do you know?
Wednesday, November 2nd.
Okay. I just without doing the research of the availability of this room. Changing it to the 17th would be fine for me, but we don't know. We probably need to change our meeting anyway. What we need to do is when we have the date, we need to make sure we advertise it 2 weeks in advance so people get the notice.
We have till next month.
Is there anything listed in there? Would you guys have anything booked? They know if there's anything booked on that date? That's normally in there? For a meeting?
The thing is that the building is closed.
No, I meant
Oh.
to go to opposite, do the next
Oh.
week or something. Change our meeting. Just for the.
Yeah,
November
so
one.
we'd have to look at the town's calendar for the 17th. So why don't we leave it at, we anticipate doing it for November, and let's figure out when the November meeting is, and we can vote the November meeting at our October meeting. And then we'll have the ad ready to go.
Because there's nothing listed right now on the 17th. I don't know what they normally want.
So then I'll send everybody a poll to see if the 17th will work once you find out it's available. So I'll do that on Monday. I can send, we won't know, tomorrow's Friday, so Monday will be the next business day.
We used to advertise this in the Garden News a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's what we
The
did
Garden
last time.
News is now. How do we get the word out to the public? Because last time we had nobody show.
And always, even when the guy was actually, live. But we need to get it on the webpage or something like that, or some kind of a link, notice upcoming meeting. That's what our new admin person will do. Or any other suggestions? There is a town Facebook page, right?
Yeah.
There's several. There's the official one and then there's,
Yeah.
Does
Right,
ours
you're
have,
right,
does
we-
this one have, do we have one?
We do
We-
not.
no.
No, we don't.
Once we have a new admin person, we might.
What are we gonna put on it? A lot, not a lot.
We're
Pictures
gonna
of
wait till
the-
somebody
maybe
hijacks
Oh,
it.
pictures of, what we've done, yeah, that'd be nice. We could put some pictures of the things. that
Yeah,
we've done.
that's one thing that we listed in that job posting too, is that as additional activities would be to better share, what happens and get a webpage or
Mhm.
Facebook or whatever it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you could show like the different, like if you have somebody take some pictures of the projects as they go
Yeah.
along.
Not everybody does a lot of that computers.
Right.
Well, then you don't
unless
hire the
you have
person that
another
can't.
idea,
Do you know anybody
I
like
don't.
that?
Huh?
You know anybody like that?
Yeah, I do.
We could post it at the different, if there's any bulletin boards around the library or post office, no, they won't let you do anything. I don't know.
Post office might be a possibility, but.
Yeah, you just go in there, you just take it, you just put whatever you want on the post, if there's a space. That's usually what I do.
Getting the word out now without newspaper is kind of typical, I think.
It might be a requirement though, that you,
Yeah, we're gonna do that, but what he's saying is what else could we do?
yeah,
Oh, what else?
social media.
Yeah, it's basically social media.
Yeah,
On our
you'll have to
website,
tweet it.
it's on my town, so
Oh,
it's not there.
No, this one, on Twitter.
Tweet it, huh?
Twitter.
No,
Like a bird.
we don't put the town on Twitter.
Okay, Instagram.
No,
No.
just
Facebook.
Facebook. It's
Facebook's
only
no.
Facebook, but Facebook is,
Discord.
yeah, they just do
Oh.
Facebook and the town website, that's it. Which is
Okay,
enough.
the Facebook and the town website are appropriate, because people that are in that can then like it, and then it can go on their personal pages, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you just have to, and that's something that we should be doing for this job, more importantly than anything as well. It's like, how do we share that? How do we get that? And I know they post things on the town webpage or the town Facebook, but I think somebody has to like it to get it really to go off the page. Is that right?
Well, you have to share it if
Please
you want it
share
on
it.
your page.
Okay,
If you take it from somebody else's but the town webpage may not be, Facebook page may not be shareable.
I don't know. if
Some of the
Polly, she
official
shared
ones are-
this job or not, she shares a lot of them. and then you reshare them. I'll look and see if she shared. If she did, I'll put it in all the groups.
I think the town,
That would be great.
the town Facebook, I think, is a shareable.
Is it shareable?
It is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, usually I take whatever she, like, she does something for rec, and then I'll reshare it in all the different groups. You know, some of them, they're the different one.
Okay, if you could do that for this in any way that you think is appropriate, that would be wonderful, because I'm like Dennis on as far as the social media goes.
Yeah, I'll see if she
So-
shared it yet. If she didn't.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure she has, she's very efficient. Okay, and so we'll get the word out about that, we'll nail down the date. I don't have any updates on any of the current projects, and we basically, potential projects, you know, we voted those things going forward. Unless anybody has any project, oh, the one thing I do want to say is that if anybody's noticed that the sign is up at the Common Burial Ground. It's black, it looks really nice, it's a high quality sign. They had to make sure they got it on the town land and not church land, and so it's up and there, it should be there until we're all in a burial ground, so that looks
Yeah, here
good.
it is as of August 24th on the town of Templeton's page. So
Okay.
now I'll share it
Yeah.
on mine.
Mhm.
You kids.
So
know
now it's on my
technology,
page.
so-
I know us kids, all us in the 60-year-old range.
Okay, great. Any other project updates or reports anybody wants to share? Okay, any,
I was wondering about
yeah.
1 Elm Street, the emergency management building.
yes,
So the selectmen are intending to put that into the annual town meeting?
so what they have done is the town voted $9,000 to engage the services, and so they're in the process of securing somebody to do the work
Right.
so that it would be ready, hopefully, for the annual.
Okay.
Yeah, we had discussed that initially about, well, it would be great if we could do it by the fall. It's like, it's just not, the timeline wasn't,
Okay.
the architect was unavailable.
All right.
What are they doing on the, how do you say it? Houghton?
Houghton Park,
Houghton Park.
they got a schedule for the surveyor to come out, and I believe it's September 21st, or it's coming soon, and so that'll be setting the bounds, checking all the markers and making sure they know exactly where the lands are. And then we can discuss a town meeting project for next year.
Yeah.
I also did get a request from the North County Land Trust to discuss looking at what might be additional projects for next year for
Yeah.
that.
We were planting yesterday. The rest of
Okay.
what I had grown went out there yesterday.
Nice. Yeah, it's really looking good down there.
The historical commission has talked a couple times about the boundaries of the Templeton Common. And I know that some areas of the common have been surveyed. If the historical commission was to come forward with a proposal to complete that survey, is that something that could be done with CPC funds?
Absolutely. Now, the question would be as to whether it would be something that we would try to do on the administrative budget that we would have the authority to spend, or if it's something that would be on the scale where we really need it to be a project. Depending on the costs, we're allocating, pretty significant portion of our administrative budget towards this, like a third for the admin person. But that's not to say that we can't do that type of work.
But it would be appropriate to bring it here.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
Mike, you might want to talk to Bob Whalen about that survey that was done on the common.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty complete. The Common Improvement Committee.
Yeah, they didn't go down the far end towards Outer River Road, and they didn't do the side by what's it like, the Crows. CRO, KRO,
Rose, yeah.
that area of the lawn wasn't done.
Okay, I can't remember
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, I'll give Bob a call.
Yeah, and in a project for, restoration of the common, whether it's grand curbing or whatever it might be, anything like that certainly is something that is open for discussion and would be allowed. We
Okay.
could find lots of examples of where that type of work's been done.
Okay, good.
Any new business anybody wishes to bring out? Any old business that we wish to move forward? Okay, well, then the next item that I have, unless anybody else has something else, is to confirm the date of the next meeting, which would be October See, that looks like the 13th. Is that what people are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Second Thursday is the 13th, so the system will automatically come to that, and I don't know, yeah, and that'll be here, October 13th.
At 7 or at
Seven.
6:30? 7.
Let's stay with 7 for now still, I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
I- 7 works for me. Hope
Yeah.
it works for PCTV.
Probably not me personally. I don't know what my schedule is gonna look like, but you'll have someone from TCTV here.
Okay, great, that being said, we could entertain a motion to adjourn.
The motion we adjourn.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,